Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello. So I'm here today with Sabrina, and we are going to do a little coaching demo, and we're going to use smarter goal setting, which is one that, I'll be honest, it's not my favorite tool. And like lots of people, um, this is something that has been thrust upon us in jobs in the past and appraisals and things like that. And it's not always one that people welcome because it doesn't always have a good history with them. So I'm going to hopefully see if I can change perspectives on it and show you how it can work in a fun way and feel like a real conversation. So Sabrina, would you like to just introduce yourself first?
I would love to. So I'm Sabrina. I am a psychotherapist slash counsellor, and I'm also training to be a supervisor that basically supervises other therapists. I work in private practice. I work with LGBTQI adults and hopefully supervisees. I'm starting to work with supervisees at the moment, which is lush. And as part of all of this, I'm doing this training course with Devon Counselling College, and I have got some assessments to do, basically, alongside, the practical work of working with supervisees and the talk portion. So I think that pretty much covers it, I think.
All
I
right.
don't think I've missed anything important.
Okay, and what would make this obviously this is quite a smaller session than we normally do, but
Yeah,
what would make
yeah,
this
yeah.
session feel like a success and really useful for you?
Um, so I'm just feeling a little bit scrambled with I know what I need to do. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get there. Do you know what I mean? So I guess if we were able to wrap this up and I felt like I had like some clear parameters about what I needed to do and like roughly when, that would be really helpful because at the moment, whenever I've got this assessment due and I'm just can't seem to get my thoughts on it straight. I'm not sure like how I'm going to make the time. I'm not totally sure. I've got like rough ideas, but it all just feels very woolly.
Okay.
And I'm having trouble like pulling all the strands together. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. So at the moment you're feeling scrambled and woolly. In 15 minutes or so, when we come to the end of this call, how would you like to be feeling about this assessment?
Crystal clear.
Crystal clear, I like
Crystal
that.
clear.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. And so can you tell me what the goal is, please?
okay, so for our next session is, I believe, I think it's at the beginning of September. And I need to have written a 3,000 word piece of writing. The title isn't set. Basically, the idea of this is at the end of the course, we do like a little micro teach where in our little cohort, you basically do 20, literally what it sounds like 20 minutes of teaching to your peers about something that you would use with either therapeutic clients or supervisees. And the assessment, I'm less worried about the micro teach because I've got like a rough idea about that. And I'm very much put me in a group and I'll just do. But the assessment bit has got to be handed in first. And I'm really mindful that August is a tricky month for me. Obviously, the kids are off school, working. There's something around having the time, like how am I gonna do this? And also kind of like, I guess just thinking about how I'm going to formulate the idea that I've got for this, which again, that's the bit that's a little bit scrambled. It feels like at the moment like really broad strokes. I guess I'm just trying to narrow it down a little bit.
Okay. And so if you were to narrow down like the goal itself in kind of like one really short sentence. So for
Oh God.
example,
Okay.
I need to submit a 3,000 word essay on the 1st
Yeah.
of September or
Yeah, ideally actually, because I have never handed anything in on the deadline. I always hand stuff in early and I'm not about to ruin my
okay, wait,
streak
wait,
now.
whoa,
So
whoa, whoa. Tell me about your last one.
sorry.
Tell me about what happened with the last one.
I feel okay. Yeah, so the last one, um, I sort of procrastinated it a little bit and then I took myself to the good space, gave myself a pep talk, drank loads of coffee and pretty much finished it in a day, and then just handed it in, I think, like 17 days early, which is a bit ridiculous. So
how did that feel?
smug, excellent. I'd love, like, I would love, if I could wave a magic wand over this, I'd love to just sort this in the next couple of weeks. Like, actually, if I could have this done, like, this is probably not feasible, but like by the beginning of August, oh God, because I could just go into the summer holidays and it's just one, I don't have to worry about it. I can just do beach days and work and, you know, hang out with the kids and not be having this extra kind of plate to spin. That would be the dream, but I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. I'm not sure if I
Not
can
worry
do
about the
it.
how just yet. So could the goal be like, what day, when do your kids break up?
Next Wednesday.
Next one. Could you
Oh
at
God.
least make a good start on it? Could you do half of it? Could you have done the plan? Could you have done, like, what could you have done by next Wednesday if you push yourself?
I think, okay, because I'm away at the weekend. I think by Wednesday when they break up, if I had a couple of hours somewhere, maybe, I don't know, Sunday night or an evening, I could probably finalize a title rather than it be this sort of vague, rough idea. And I could probably do a plan. If I could even just do the intro, that would kind of like bounce me into it. And it'd probably just flow, because that's kind of what happened last time. Once I kind of had the plan and I started writing, it just kind of happened.
So how realistic does it feel for you to have a title, a plan, and an introduction done before your kids break up next Wednesday, 1 week today?
Yeah, probably do that, to be fair. I haven't thought about doing that, but I could probably do that. Yeah.
Is it so, given that you're away at the weekend, you mentioned doing on Sunday evening, is that achievable for you?
I think, do you know what? Kind of, yeah, because I can, you know, come back. I probably, you know, so like, I wouldn't put my laptop on. This is me like brainstorming.
Okay.
It feels totally plausible to come back, grab a notebook and just brain dump a little bit, and then stuff will flow out of that. That's
Okay.
normally kind of my process anyway, to be fair. I tend to do like a lot of notes, a lot of planning. Like the laptop doesn't go on until I'm about to write, and that's almost like the last thing that I do. Do you know what I mean? So there would, you know, it feels really reasonable to like get home and just, you know, brainstorm for an hour. Like it probably wouldn't even take that long actually, because I already have some rough ideas about what I want to do.
And what is the most fun way that you could spend an hour brainstorming? Like, where would you do it? What would you be eating and drinking? So you talked about going to the good space and having all the coffee. Like, what would work best for this?
I think so I'm just sort of sniggering to myself. I think probably like some sort of drink with non-alcoholic cold drink with lots of ice, fan on. There's the most bougie snacks ever. I'm going through a thing at the moment where I love olives, like some olives and nuts. I'm going to pretend I'm by a pool somewhere with all my um coloured fountain pens and just brain dump with a fancy notebook. And I think when I start doing that, it will, like I say, just formulate, because like I said, I know I want to. Okay, so I want to write something about working creatively with supervisees. So the idea was something. I think I had like a draft. It might, you know, even end up being the title, but the draft idea was something about like metaphor, a narrative in supervision, like how and why. And then I was going to do like a bit of a micro teach using some creative exercises that I do with, you know, clients and supervisees, but to use the assessment to kind of set up like why you would do that, what's helpful about it, and kind of like explain the teach, if that makes any sense, but include some of like my own creative stuff. that I've done recently that I would use with clients to make it a little bit more interesting, because I just can't bear the idea of doing something boring. So it's already it's already a creative exercise anyway. So I hope that made sense.
I mean, this literally sounds like my favorite way to spend time. Coloured fountain pens and fancy snacks. I don't like olives though. Just FYI for future reference. So, and I love that idea. So if I were to put you on the spot now and say, give me a title.
Oh God. Well, this is what I'm thinking about it, because I'm not sure. Okay, so what I want to do, and I use this with clients all the time, I have this really gorgeous storyboard exercise, which basically asks clients to tell a story. It explains like what, who's the character, what's the mission of the character, what obstacles are there, does the character overcome the obstacles, and what's the ending, is there an ending? And that's probably what I use for the micro teach. But I was also kind of thinking a little bit about like storytelling. There's this theory that I get really nerded out into. There's only like, when you look at literature across the board, there's only like 6 stories that you can ever tell. And they all follow different kind of like thought patterns. And one of my favorite examples is like, Frankenstein and My Fair Lady are the same story. So, and people do this in like supervised do this. I have stories, we all have stories. So I was like, I really want to think about stories that clients tell, and that they do without, like, consciously and unconsciously, and kind of mapping that. So it's kind of like how you trying to how I would word it, like thinking maybe something like conscious and unconscious storytelling in the therapy room, maybe.
I don't know. I mean, I want to read that. That sounds really interesting. Sounds really good.
Can I write that down a second, because I'll never remember it, Chloe.
Conscious. Well, this is recorded, so
of course it is.
Conscious and unconscious storytelling. But yeah, can I share what came up for me as you were talking about that?
Do.
So, I think it's, again, kind of where I was talking about smarter goal setting, and how a lot of us associate it with kind of almost like being in trouble at work, and like we think of it as boring. And I think the word supervision can feel like that, right? Like it can feel like I'm in trouble, I'm not doing well enough, I'm going to get told off. We can have a lot of fear and anxiety around it. And actually, there's something about bringing fun and creativity into that, and challenging that whole perspective, especially because I know you're working with people who are just trained and maybe coming into supervision for the first time. So yeah, I think you've got some real gold there already.
Yeah. And I really agree with you. Like, that's part of my whole ethos. I'm really mindful, and this is something that's come up for me in the training anyway, is just what comes into your mind when you think about being supervised. And I really, the power dynamics of that don't sit very well with me. So I, with the people that I've already begun working with, I've outlined it as, like, I'm not a parent, I like to think of myself as like an experienced peer. I'm not going to sit here and be directive. That's just not really how I work. It's not what I do. So anything that can facilitate the other person's creativity, their own process, their own ideas, I am here for it. And this is why I really love working creatively with people. It's so fruitful. I love doing it myself. I love working, all the stuff that I want to use in the micro teach is stuff that I do myself. Like, I wouldn't ask anyone to do something that I've not already tried out, so that's really important to me. And it just makes it more interesting. I really don't want to be like directive, boring teacher figure. It's supposed to be interesting. And I don't do boring. So yeah.
Yeah, I think you've got some wonderful ideas there. So I am. So how does this assignment specifically, but how does getting this assignment and getting your full qualification, what impact is that going to have on your life as a whole?
Do you know what? I love working with my therapeutic, my therapy clients, but it's a different setup working with other therapists. The dynamic is just different, and it's really lush getting to, work with other people, see how they work, they see how you work. There's so much learning that goes on both ways. It's really amazing. So like, I will take things in that other people learn from, but I will pull things out that, supervisees are talking about that I might not have heard of or might not have tried before. So it's really lush. I really enjoy it. And honestly, it gives me the chance to just work with other professionals, because there's that, it's just a different relationship. So I'm really looking forward to, yeah, not willing it away because I'm enjoying the content loads, but I'm looking forward to being qualified and having all the assessment bits done, all the hours done, so that I can basically just go and really get stuck in. I'm setting up a supervision group. I'm starting to meet more supervisees. I really just want to get there and get on with it because I'm really enjoying it.
And so what impact, so once you're there and you've got your supervisees, and maybe that means you're making more money or you're feeling more fulfilled in your work, what impact does that have on your life as a whole?
Do you know what? It gives me more of an opportunity to just keep doing the stuff that I really love. It's what I'm really interested in. Um, I'm really looking forward to doing more of it, more of the same, really. And maybe, having a few more supervisee hours to do, it literally, yeah, do you know what? Literally, it'll be more of the same, and it just it's just something I really enjoy. Really enjoy doing it. Can't wait. Um, yeah.
Okay. And so we've talked about, so obviously we started off with the goal to hand in your assignment at the beginning of September, which is still the goal. And then we've talked about, can we bring it forward so you can do it before the school holidays start, or at least be kind of have got the planning done. Then we've talked about Sunday evening. What if you could, so bearing in mind how clear your ideas actually are, and it's more a case of getting them on paper, could you do this before you go away for the weekend?
Probably could actually. What's happening? Yeah, no, I probably could actually. I'm just thinking I could either do it this evening or tomorrow night, actually. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, no, that's totally doable.
How would that feel if you're having to like put it in where you hadn't kind of scheduled it in your mind? Would that feel good to you, or is that like a pressure? How does that feel, the thought of having it done first?
I don't know that it really changed. I don't know that it really changes anything, because actually the conversation around like how would it look like, what would I be doing, and it's, for me, it's not a punishment to sit with some lovely snacks and like funky rainbow pens and brain dumps. So actually, doing it now versus Sunday, okay, doesn't really change an awful lot. I might feel better. And actually, I might feel better knowing that if I've done it, I can go away and I don't have to come back and do it, maybe, actually.
Or you could come back and start writing.
No.
If you're so excited, if you get all excited about it,
but yeah, like it might generate a little bit
by Wednesday.
I've just done it. But yeah, it might kind of, I'm just thinking, actually, if I do sit down and do it this evening, is there something it just releases a bit of brain space, because I know that I've got a plan of what I'm going to do. I know, I've broken it down into like smaller tasks, intro, paragraphs, blah blah blah. It doesn't feel like this overwhelming thing that I can't, I keep kicking away. If I've drafted something, I just know where I'm at. So actually, yeah, I might try and do it. I might try and see how it goes later.
There's nothing worse than a blank page.
This is the thing, right? I'd rather just, I think, yeah, yeah, you're inspiring me. I think I might do it later and see what comes out.
Okay. And I think that you have very well covered that certainly this phase of it is going to be enjoyable with the pens and the olives. How are you, so just going on to the work beyond that,
Yeah.
how are you going to set up and protect the time for actually writing the full assignment so that it's still something you enjoy?
I'm thinking, actually, as we've been talking, I'm like, okay, how do I do this? Because I know last time I put it off and put it off and put it off, and I'm not normally a procrastinator. And then I had this day where, and it was like a full day. I think, it was several hours. But because of just the way the next few weeks / month is looking, I don't have like that kind of amount of time. So I'm just sitting here thinking, when I've done this lush planning bit, which I'm normally pretty chilled and happy to do, maybe the way of doing this is I sit down with my diary and work out like, okay, I've got an hour, I'm going to write the intro, I'm going to write paragraph 1, I know what's going to go in that because I've planned it, and kind of put in hours over a week or 2 weeks where I really break it down into small chunks, because I'm only going to have pockets of time anyway, rather than like a whole morning or a whole afternoon. And actually, if I'm only having to do little bits at a time, I'm not going to hit that point where I'm really bored and frustrated with it, because it's going to just be little bits really of work that just build up, and then I can give myself plenty of time to like proofread, edit, but nothing too overwhelming in everything else. So I think that might be the way that I go about it.
And obviously you could use our Friday co-working sessions to do this if you're able to come to them.
I could do that.
That would give you an hour a week. And how will you reward yourself once it's submitted and it's completed and you're like really proud of what you've written, you're excited to submit it and show it off? How are you going to reward yourself?
That's a really good question. I feel like if I'm going to do it in the next few weeks, it'll be maybe over a month since I had a massage. I think maybe that would be a good excuse to go and have another one, or I go and do something. I think something, me time would, especially in August, because it's always hectic. Making sure that I schedule something in that's for me on my own, very much on the, not self-maintenance, because that'll be happening anyway, but like proper indulgence somewhere.
Yes.
Again, even if it's like a pocket of time, would very much be on the agenda.
Okay. Tell me your favorite word again.
Say again.
What's your word that I've stolen from you? Like
decadent.
Totally
decadent.
Bit of decadence. Yeah, a bit of luxury, indulgence. Yes, nice. Okay, so having considered all of this, what's your plan going forward now?
So I'm thinking I've got some other bits to do this afternoon, but I think I've got to go out, but what I might do is actually like get out notebooks, pens, paper, so that when I come back, it's there ready for me, so that I can, I don't know, shower, put comfy pajamas on, sit here and snack, and it's just there. See what happens, and then hopefully, I'm gonna have a plan. I quite like that. Actually, I was sitting here thinking I quite like that title. I might even just go with that, see what else comes out, but that sounds fancy. Sorry, I was daydreaming about titles. What was the question? Sorry, Chloe. What was it you just asked me?
What will you do today, Sunday, next Wednesday, and for the rest of the holidays?
Yeah. So I'm gonna work this plan and the title, and I think once I've done that, that will feel like it's a little bit more stable and a little bit less kind of wobbly and all over the place. I'm going to put some dates, some chunks of time in my diary, so that I know roughly, like hour blocks, if you like. So I'm like, okay, essay work, and then I can work out what I need to do in each one. And I'm going to work out a date when I want to hand it in. What's today? 15th. Just looking at my calendar. Oh, a bit of me is like, can I hand it in by the 31st of July?
Yes.
I'm going to try to. I'm looking.
You've got so much of it there already, and just picture for me what your summer holiday looks like if that essay is in by the 31st of July compared to if it's hanging over you.
Well, this is it, right? So, I've worked out, my childcare, and I know when I'm working roughly, I've obviously not booked everything in yet, but I've got, my parameters set up for when I'm working, when I'm not, days that I want to spend with my children. We want to go to the beach, we want to go, doing this or doing that. We're going on holiday at the end of August, and I definitely categorically want it handed in before then. Like, I'd really love it handed in before, like, we even get really fully into August, because I just don't want to have to worry about it. I'd rather be, enjoying beach days and downtime when I'm not at work. That's a real priority. So actually, I think I would rather just focus my mind a little bit in the next 2 weeks and just get it done. It's not even that big a deal. Yeah.
Okay. And so at the beginning of the call, you were feeling scrambled and woolly about this, and your goal was to hand it in at the beginning of September.
Yeah.
How are you feeling now?
I feel less panicky. I think I didn't realize how I don't know if I was stressed or not, but like, it was very much this thing that was kind of like floating around, thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do about that? And I'm like, okay, I know what I'm going to do about that. It feels plausible. It feels like it's achievable. I just need to sit down and do it. And like you said, it's already there. I feel like I've just clarified a little bit. So it does feel clearer and it doesn't feel overwhelming. I just need to like
Even
scoop
though
out the inside of my brain and
we've quite significantly moved your goal. So instead of having like 2 months to do it, it's now down to about 2 weeks. But you're feeling clearer with it.
yeah, definitely. But I think you're on something, because my experience is that, sometimes time will expand or contract the amount of time you give to something. And I'm like, okay, I've just massively fallen into that trap where I'm like, I'm going to give myself weeks to do this. Well, then it will take weeks and it will just stress me out. Actually, if I just concentrate and formulate clearly what I'm going to do, this could be done really quite quickly. This doesn't have to be a thing. I'm not going to make it one. So I'm going to just actually just crack on. I know what I'm doing. It's already there. Or it will be when I've planned it out later. It's sort of bubbling. I actually feel quite excited to do it now. I think I was sort of putting it off a little bit. Yeah.
All right. And please do like post in Slack, and we can all
Yeah.
help keep you accountable.
Okay.
Thank you so much. That's the end of the Smarter tool. Just before I
Thank
stop
you.
the recording, yeah, is there any feedback, anything you'd like to share?
Just as ever, total legend. And I'm going to embarrass you now. I'm really looking forward to your workshop day in September. Can't wait. Oh my God, it's going to be absolutely legend. Like, just, yeah, like, it's going to be so good. I can't wait. So that's very firmly in my diary. And
Excellent.
yeah, if there's any therapists watching this that want supervision, hi.
Yeah, you can see how keen you are now.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you.